Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me today. Morning, Sarah, June, and Heather. Hi, Sheila. Hi, Anne and Pat. Morning, Teresa. Hello, May. Hi, Shirley. What are we all up to? Oh, Julie, I'm glad you've received your kits. Thank you. I hope some other people will do today. It's all been sent off and everything. So the kits are for Saturdays and Mondays classes. So I'm looking forward to those with everyone. Hi, Kaz. Hope you get yours soon. Lynn and Sandra. Hi, Sheila. Hi, Viv. As you can probably see, I had so many people ask me about how did I do the background for the Lighthouse card that was on John's show on Sunday and Monday, I think it was. And I see that he's going to show you a version of doing it as well on the Crafts World at 1 o'clock today. So do go over and have a look at that if you haven't seen it. I'm not so sure what medium he's going to be using, and I thought that I would use the Izink little pigment inks today, because again, a lot of people have asked, how do you use these? So I am going to be using them, but the only thing is that they are on exceptionally limited stock, because they were a complete and utter sellout on the shows at Sunday, Monday, and I have just got literally what I have got left, and that is it. I haven't got any full complete bundles anymore. Oh, I like fabulous, Maxine, Julia. Yeah, you can stay. Yeah. Yeah, you can stay. I like being called fabulous. No, I'm sure I'm not. And one thing I'm really not is I'm not an artist. And so I can't draw to save my life. So anything that I do is completely to do with the quality of the stamps and the products that I work with. So I might have that vision in my mind of being an artist, but I can tell you I'm not. And unfortunately, in my eyes, I'm not, because, as I said, I can't draw. And to me, and I know that's not particularly right, that if I was to draw something, it would need to look like it really does in real life. And that I can't achieve. So these stamps and this type of thing is really up my street. So you're going to get two for the price of one today, because they really are simple. And when you sort of like think about it, you'll realize that this is exceptionally simple. So I've just forgotten one thing, and I don't think it's in my room. Just bear with me. Hold on. Talk amongst yourselves. Oh, well, maybe not. If I was organised, it would be really dangerous, wouldn't it, eh? Aha. Hiding. Okay, so let us make a start. So the stamp set that I'm working with is the Jays Lighthouse one. So it comes with a couple of other little bits and pieces, but I'm only using the basic one. And I've already prepared my card here. So it's a 7x7 card, and I've got a black layer already in place, which is, I can't remember, 16x16, that piece. And then this piece, 15.5x15.5. This piece here is ordinary white card, just ordinary card, nothing special whatsoever. I'm going to put that to one side. This piece here is watercolour. It is clearly far larger than I need, but I do find that I prefer to work with a bigger area and then cut it down. It gives me more scope if one bit doesn't look quite as good as I'd want it to. So that's that. As I said, I'm going to be working initially with the Izink things. So they are a pigment ink, and they're pretty special because not only are they a pigment ink, but they work like a watercolour as well, in as much as you can water them down. So they come in like a nail varnish. I haven't tried them as nail varnish. I did tell John I was going to try them as nail varnish, but I don't know that it might be an idea. I'm going to put a little blob on my blending mat here. Okay. I'm not going to water my card, but I am going to take the very wide, flat aqua brush. Don't know if you can see that. It's the Crafts 2 one. It comes with a water barrel here, and it's got a special sort of like a nod and kickback valve of it or some sort of thing. And so it has water in here, but it doesn't flood. And I'm going to add some water, just going to squeeze it a little bit, to my bit of pigment ink here. Okay. I'm just going to squeeze a bit and then it comes down. And I'm just going to do like we did with the pens some while ago. I'm going to take this in from both sides. Okay. Just add a bit more water. So squeezing it just brings a bit more water in. Okay. So just take it back. Take it from both sides there. I'm going to get some tissue to take that bit off, because it is pigment ink, so it would sort of, make a stain there. Just run that across to take the colour off, because I don't want all yellow colour. Then I'm going to go for a bit of orange, burnt orange. And again, just a couple of dobs there. Don't need a great deal because I'm not doing a great deal. I'm not wanting to soak this by any means, and it does dry quite quickly, so I'm just going with that. So then I'm taking it a bit further down and I'm just bringing it in from either side, and I'm not filling it in, so I've got plenty of white space, as they call it. Okay, just a bit more here. And it's sort of an oil base, ball pigment, so oil base. So you will find that it will dry quite quickly on here. So we like drying quite quickly, and we like drying without having to use my heat gun, because then you can still hear what I'm saying. Oh dear. Is it called Wednesday because we wonder what Maxine's going to make us spend the money on? Yeah. Yeah, that is exactly why it's called Wednesday. I wonder what on earth I'm going to do. That's why it's called Wednesday. No, I didn't know what I was going to do today because so many people had asked today. So now I'm taking a little bit of the, just check the name, Rouge or a Raspberry Beret. Oh, someone liked Prince then, didn't they, when they did this? So now I'm going to take this a little bit random in places. And that's why I like this head, because it's sort of spaced out a bit and not, as I said, no artist, so I can't be doing with anything too difficult. Looks like raspberry, doesn't it? So just taking that across, maybe a little touch of it up there. Okay, so that's our sunset, sunrise colours. Just take the colours off of here. Obviously red is a really strong colour, so it needs a bit of working off, but you can see. Oh, do you know, I thought just now, I wonder if the phone will go today, and blow me, it blooming well does. Well, it ain't for me. It probably is, but no staff, you see. Giving them the day off again. That's the trouble, isn't it? So excuse the phone ringing. It will go to Arts Machine, hopefully, in just a little while. So let's squeeze some more of the water down here. And I'm going to bring some blue, light blue. I've forgotten to see what the colour was for this one. Sorry. This one is Stratosphere. Oh, crikey. Or light blue. I think we'll go for light blue. Need a little bit more of that, I think. So as I said, there are 2 things to show you today, so I hope you've got the time, but if you haven't got the time to keep watching, you can watch it on catch up later. It will be all put onto the YouTube channel later on. Now this one is considerably darker, and this one is called Thundercloud or Grease, don't know. Add a bit of water to that and bring that in. So this one's going to give me much darker down the bottom. Okay, so I'm bringing that in, and I want to make that more of a sort of a solid effect there. So I've just got my colours. I've not done anything special. You don't need to put it completely down the bottom. So it's very similar technique than the one that we were using with the Izink marker pens, just on watercolour card, and just bring that over the top there. So I just want to clean my thing off. So just cleaning that. Don't want any more of that on there. Want it nice and clean. So that just by going backwards and forwards takes out all of that ink. Okay. So we have, just going to wipe that bit off there. We have our base. So our base is just purely the pigment inks onto the watercolour card and dry. We like that. We like dry straight away. So we then need to take, for this bit, in fact, I say dry straight away. It just feels a little damp, so I'm sorry. There's me saying you're not going to have a heat gun. I think I just want to dry that off. You know, just take out all of the moisture of it. Otherwise your next lot of ink will soak in, so we don't want any of that. So now I'm going to decide whereabouts I want my lighthouse to be. And obviously you can see that this is the sky bit and this is the ground bit. And because if you look at the image, there's a lot of the sea there that is sort of covered all this colour. It doesn't matter that there's white amongst it. So I think I'm going to place that about, I don't know, where do you think? With a bit more, I think we'll go around that way so that it's easier for me to do. Lean that on there. That's better. So put that up in the tight corner there, just in case we need to do it a second time. And I'm going to put my lighthouse around about there, I reckon. Okay. Put a couple of little, keep these in place, I think. That's better. Right, so pick that up, and I've got a VersaFine. I'm going to do it with VersaFine as opposed to VersaFine Clair today. Again, just because I can. So it's a nice, fine, detailed ink, this one. Whoops. Just press that down. Now it is going on to watercolour card, which obviously isn't completely flat, and so you may find that you need to ink this up a second time. I don't think you do, actually. I think that's pretty splendid. So leave that on there for a second, because we'll need it for the bit at the bottom. So I'm just going to trim that down now. Because I want to trim it along those side bits. I don't want anything else from the side. I have to be careful because the black ink is not set just yet. So I'm just going to trim that down there. Okay, woo! And we take that to about 11. Whoops. Oh, come here. Behave. Thank you. You've got to talk to it, I find. If you don't talk to it. Oh, look, and I've got black on my fingers. Ugh. You know what? That's what I did the last time. Hence why that last one has a seagull in it, because the seagull had to hide the mess. It had to have 2 seagulls in because it was 2 messes. So I've got my piece there, and I just need to measure. So that was 9.5 by 11. So I need to just cut a black piece of card. Whoops. That is just a fraction bigger than that. Put that over there. So 9.5 by 11. So we need it 10 by 11.5. And that's just going to give it a little bit of a border. Okay. And that's going to go onto there like that. And I am going to have to dry that because it's not drying very quickly. So let me just give that a dry. I can see that it's still shiny. And we can't have it shiny because otherwise we'll need so many seagulls on here to cover all the bits. It won't be very successful. So just a quick whiz over, get those bits done. So I'll leave that to one side just for the second. And we need to now come in with our card. Now, I think that that looks pretty splendid already, to be honest with you. But the one that I did for the show was with the extended at the back. And so that's what we're going to do, just to extend that. So I'm going to take that off and that one off. I'm going to keep that to one side so that I know that it's nearby if I need it. And this one is a bit of, do they call it plagiarism? I don't know. Sounds good to me. I need my little cover, and I haven't got my little covers. So go for a plastic cover on the bottom. So that's just to protect it. So I need to, no. We have to do it that way around. I need to put my piece of card unusually so that it is not in the corner. So I need to just make sure that it's straight, and I can make sure that it's straight by the lines on here. So that's okay there, because I need to only stamp half of my thing in. I have to do it this way, I think. So I'm going to come in like that. I'm going to pick that up a second and carefully put some magnets on there to hold that in place. So I'm only stamping part of this, and because it's hidden, it's okay. The one bit that I'm going to miss is the bit with the lighthouse on itself. Oh gosh, sorry, you couldn't see that. So I haven't stamped this bit at all. I've just stamped this bit, and I'm just going to pop that into there like that. And you've got that bit stamped. And then I'm going to move that down. Sorry, I can't see. That's no good, is it, if you can't see? I'm going to move that down a little bit because I need to get the rest of the stamp in there. Now, I'm going to pop that into place. And now I'm going to get this part of the stamp onto here. But obviously, I don't want to be stamping up that either. So I'm going to put that in a straight line from there. But I'm just going to put it, that's it. as if it's a continuation. I'm going to pick that up and oops, I'm going to stick Post-it note. I could mask it off and things, but I'm going to stick it over there so that the Post-it note, none of that will ink up. Okay, so I'm just going to ink that bit there, press that down, and then we've got the C bit coming out of there. So then I'm going to take that off. Take that off as well. So now when I put my thing together there, we have the C coming and going from both sides, and I'm leaving room just for a quick sentiment. We go for the wonderful times, I think. I'm going to be very ambitious and put it on by hand. The whole lot's on by hand. What I meant was not putting it onto a stamping platform. I've just put it onto an acrylic block. Just stamp that up, and I'm just going to pop that down in that corner, because I think that that finishes it off. And then, as we said, I finished it off. I will finish it off later, and I'll put it up there with some seagulls. And as I said, if you looked at the actual the sample on the TV, it's got it's actually got 2 seagulls, because I got 2 blobs of ink on it and I needed to cover them. And so this one's got 1 blob of ink on it that will be able to be covered by a seagull. So I know I haven't stuck that together, but you can see how that goes. Okay. So, oh, you've had your hair cut and your back, Catherine. Oh gosh, how lovely. I've noticed how some of the people on the television, there's a chap on our I think he's a local television chap anyway. He reads the weather, and his name, for the people that watch it here, and I'm not so sure whether he isn't on Country File sometimes, but anyway, he's a TV weatherman, and his name is Thomas Shakanaka. Oh, you would remember a name like that, wouldn't you? And because of that name, he's a nice young lad, but his hair, oh my goodness, I bet he's got the first appointment that he can possibly get, because it's getting longer and longer, and it's almost like curling up at the edges. Oh dear. Anyway, right, okay, so 1 stamp done. I think it's one of my favourites, this. I just think it looks lovely. And if I hadn't have put ink on it, I wouldn't need to put a bird. But you know what? Just thinking, rather than a seagull bird, I could just, there we are, 3 seagulls. 3 seagulls flying in, covered up my ink, sorted. So there we go. Now, as I said, if you've still got the time and the energy and the wherewithal, I would like to show you another card. And this one is done with one of the other 2 Jays stamp sets, which was on the show at the weekend. And this one is called Time Frame, I think, or something. No, sorry. Oh, nothing of the sort. Take Flight. Oh, goodness. This one is a lot larger than the others. The other stamps, as you could see, were quite much smaller, but you've actually got 3 on here and lots of words as well. Now, I'm still going to use the Izink little dropper bottles, but I'm going to actually do something a little bit different again. And there is one other thing that I wanted to point out that I've done with my set, and that is, because I'm going to use this one, I've actually cut out this piece because it comes with the words new home as that one stamp, but I don't want new home in all of my projects. So I want to be able to put thinking of you, dream, special friend, make a wish, all that sort of thing in there, which are all here. And so I have just taken a pair of scissors and I've just cut out the middle bit of the new home. Okay, so that gives me one with a hool. You can see that. Okay, so I'm going to take that to one side. Now, as I said, I'm going to use make this into a different into a card, but with a slightly different. I just wanted to show you what else you could do with these inks. So to start off with, I'm going to put a bit of a background on, and I am going to use this one, which is the Stratosphere, and I'm also going to use my wide brush on that. So I'm literally going to put a few dobs here and there of that, and then I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to brush that to one side. I'm not really adding any, I'm adding a little bit of water as I'm going along, but not, whoops, a great big load there, not a great deal. Okay, so I just got a very hint of a blue on there because that's all I wanted to do. All right, now then I've taken one of the mister spray bottle misters, and you can see maybe down the bottom here, fiddling, you can see here that I've put a little bit of the ink, and I used one of the dropper bottles to pick it up, dropper pipette things. So these are sort of like a disposable one that you pop into your pot of goodness, pick it up, pop it into here, add a little bit of water, and then just shake it, and it makes it into a spray, a mist. So just going to make sure that's all mixed together again. And I'm just going to, from a distance, spray that over there as well. Okay, so that gives me a bluey green background. You can put on as much or as little as you require. Just wipe that up there. Okay, so this is on a piece of watercolour, but it doesn't have to be on watercolour. I just thought that I would go with that. Now I do need to dry that off, so bear with me. Let me just dry that off. It won't take very long to dry because it's mostly water there. Just right from the back so it doesn't walk too much. Okay, so just not even, yeah, you can see it there, just splattered a little bit so that it just looks a bit different. So then I'm going to take my stamping platform and I'm going to pop my card down onto there. Make sure that that's in place. And then position my Take Flight onto the top. And the only thing I'm checking really is to make sure that that bottom bit there is upright. That's all. Whoops. Now I'm going to stamp this one up also with VersaFine, but this time in the smoky grey. Mainly so that it's not too in your face. Whoops, I don't know what that was. So there we go. And just press that straight down. Yeah, that's all come out nicely. I'll just take that to one side. Clean that up in a minute. So there's my frame onto here. Okay, now, so put that one away. With all of these inks, you can colour with them as well. And so I'm going to take my, oh, what a horrible name, olive drab, otherwise called khaki, but oh gosh, do you know, I never noticed that name. They come up with some funny names, don't they? Just going to daub a little bit down onto my blending mat there again. And this time I'm using a pen, a brush, same aqua brush, but this time it's the regular nib and it's the small one. Obviously the other one, as you could see, what a difference. But when I'm doing more finer work, I can't even get that in, I want this. It's the same thing with the valve there. So there is water in here, don't need to add any. And I'm just going to pick up a little bit of this, and wherever there is a little bit of a leaf, so it's the same colour green that I put on the background, sprayed on the background. And although a lot of these leaves are solid in ink, if you see what I mean, I'm just going over them in the green because I found that it really just picked them up a little bit. So wherever there is a bit of green, and I think it's the leaf, that's what I've gone for. Okay. So you can use, I mean, obviously you could use any medium to colour these, but so many people asked if I could show you some more ideas with the Izink pigment dropper bottles. You could use, if you took advantage of the special offer last week with the Izink bottles, pigment bottles that we had, which were the old version, if you see what I mean, just a different way of delivery, because this one's a brush whereas the other ones were a dropper. They all work like that. So I think I've got all of that. So I'm not coloured that in, I just literally just pop that down. Okay. Oh, that was clever, wasn't it? Just missed it. Okay. So clean off that bit. And then I'm going to go with, what's this one called? Cotton Candy or Rose Pastel. And just pop a little bit down there onto my blending mat. And I'm going to go for the flowers now. So I've got a flower here. And as you can see, I'm not being particularly careful about colouring this in. Okay, so we have a plan. Now I could just leave it like that and that would be absolutely fine, but I decided to go a little bit further than this, so bear with me. So I'm just colouring in, and I'm not going right up to the lines because it's sort of a bit of a random one. I'm just going basically roughly on that. Okay. So again, let me pop that to one side just for the minute. So then, just going to bring back in my stamp here. And I've taken a piece of ordinary card this time. So this is not watercolour. And I have already stamped some of these out. So you don't have to see and watch me do all of it again. But I'm just going to do this one. So I have stamped the image out again with the same ink, the smoky grey, but this time on ordinary card. Okay, like that. I did stamp out the whole one beforehand, but I've stamped it out a couple of times actually. And then I'm going to take my pink again and my watercolour. And I'm just going to colour in these. So if you look at the pattern here, you've got two big flowers here and two little ones here. So I'm just going to colour in those. And again, they are what I'd call a vaguely coloured in. They're not, you know, not massively cleverly done. No shading or anything like that necessarily. So when I'm using this ink, so this was what makes this one different. When I'm using this ink with water, it will become translucent and I can see the stamp underneath it. But I could use that ink straight on to a piece of metal and I wouldn't be able to, or plastic or anything, and I wouldn't be able to see through it at all if I didn't put water on it. So it's completely opaque then. So, you know, very, very clever. Now, I have now then going to cut this out, and I have a massive pair of scissors, but who cares? I'm going to then cut these out into a little bit of a decoupage. So I'm just fussy cutting around these stamps, as I have already done to the stamps that, to the flowers that were at the top as well. So I'm just cutting these down. I am going to make them separate. So there's one, and here is the other one. So I'm not giving it a white border like I often do when I'm fussy cutting. I'm keeping absolutely to the line of the ink. Okay. Oops. And here's some more that I've done earlier. So I'll bring back my painting. Painting? Oh gosh, yeah, I suppose it is a painting really. Let me find my glue. There it is. So I did the same here with this flower and this flower and these, but I did it a second time with this one. And not only have I done it a second time, but I've also cut into the leaf, into the petals, so that they have a little bit of a movement to them. So I'm just going to put a bit of glue glaze onto the back of that one and stick that there. And then I've cut another one, but I've only cut out the center of it. So a little bit of sort of decoupage on its own. That one goes there. This one I've done, and then I've just bent it round a little bit. Could put a bit of foam on, I suppose, but I'm not going to. Just going to stick that one down there, if it will stay. And then these little ones, I believe that is that one. Again, just a bit of glue and just moulding that up a little bit so that it isn't completely flat. And the same with that one there. Just mould that up a little bit. Whoops. And that sticks on there. So that you've got a really pretty little 3D effect going on. So I need to put a sentiment on. So I'm going to choose one of the sentiments that are on here. And I think we'll go for Love Is. Gosh, can you remember Love Is? I used to love that. Was it the Daily Mail or something? Or something like that? Was it the Daily Mail? I can't remember. It's cartoon with little characters, and every day it was Love Is something different sort of thing. There we are. Love Is. Okay. And then I've already pre-prepared this as a double matte. Now, just in case I've got bits of ink on there that I don't want to put on the final bit, I'm going to take a 6x4 card, and then because do you remember I put on 2 layers? I did a blue one and a green one. I've actually picked those 2 colours as the same, more or less, that are going to be my matte and layer. So I've got, oh, now I know what fell on the floor. The glue fell on the floor. So let's use this glue instead. So I have taken just 0.5 centimetre off of my size of my base card. and gone with a light blue first. Then I've gone with the khaki blue, khaki green, just checking you were still listening and haven't nodded off, because it's a bit longer today because we've shown you two. And that one's going to go there with the same little border. And I just thought using the two colours tied this in quite well. Now, really think that I'm going to have to should have done that first. I'm going to put some glue, some tape onto here, because I've found that, it really doesn't do to put glue onto watercoloured card. So I'm just going to put some of the double-sided tape, and then I find that will really stick it well. So I just put that to attach, and I will do that on the other card that I've done that I haven't quite finished for you, and put that up. So as I said, there are many different ways of doing the backgrounds, but in terms of elongating the background, that's the way that is done. Just check that I got this around the right way. Oh, no, I didn't. So we must just check that. So again, giving that the little border all the way round. And because I've put the double-sided tape on, that will hold that down nicely. And that is my, keep saying time flies, take flight. Take flight? Yeah, take flight. Just a bit different, still using the same ink, still using these little dropper bottles, but just showing you that, you know, people say, what can you do with them? Well, you can do all sorts. Have an experiment like I did, and you can really do it with all sorts. The versatility of it, that you can be using it on metal, plastic, wood, paper as well. Add a bit of water to it, becomes a watercolour base. It's really a very clever product, very clever indeed. Let me just bring in this little one. Okay, so that just needs a little bit of tape, and finish that one off for you in just a second so that you can see. Just put that into place. But you can see it's all hidden underneath there. No one will be able to see that you haven't done the pattern completely. Just pick out the pieces of the pattern that you want, mask off a bits that you do want, because that's going to go completely over it. And then I will, when I start that to get on there for a second, I will put some foam tape on there so that just lifts it up a little bit more. But that is your two cards. Sorry it's taken a bit longer. Hope you haven't nodded off. But two things completely different, and something that you might fancy having a go at. I will be back on Friday with the Fancy Fold Friday. Looking forward to showing you yet another fancy fold. We haven't run out of them yet, so all is well. And that's at the earlier time at 10 o'clock. And then on Saturday, I have got my first group of ladies for the online workshop. And then Sunday, gosh, it's going to be a busy weekend. Sunday morning onto the Sunday special, which is a nice little Sunday special. I think you're going to like that one. And that's at 11 o'clock. And then on Monday, I've got my second group for the online crafty workshop rather. So lots to do, lots of creativity going on. If you do have any, put them on the website. Love to see them. Thank you for all your lovely comments. I'm glad that you like them. I'm sure that you can do. No, you wouldn't dare nod off, Teresa. No, but you never know. It could be. It could be, because I know I have in the past, but not whilst I'm showing you. So that's good. But thank you for bearing with me. The website, the Facebook page will show you the finished cards in a little while, and the link to watch these, and then you can zoom on all the bits when I go missing and all that sort of thing, and the phone, and you can put it on mute then. So there you go. Thanks so much for enjoying me. Stay safe, everybody. Look after yourself and be kind to people. Thank you for joining me today. Take care. Cheerio.